'Twas the week before LaveCon.
And all through the halls,
there was hustle and bustle.
And frantic phone calls.
Us truckers and Lavians.
And all sorts of friends.
Dug out their battle cards.
and game odds and ends.
For in a week's time,
they'd be loading their ships.
And heading to Sol.
For an annual trip.
Postponed due to Rona.
For more than 2 years.
we'll all get together.
And drink lots of beers.
But until next week comes...
And we start the long drive.
This week we'll make do with.
Our mics are live. Good evening, and welcome to the show that is the show before LaveCon.
You know, it's so nice you're all throwing me a party.
A party? I like parties.
What's the party for?
Me!
What Amelia meant was, why are we having a party?
Because you all get to be shot of me.
That's not an excuse for a party. That's terrible. We wouldn't dream of shooting you.
You speak for yourself. I've got my beam laser polished and primed ready. However, before we reach that particular milestone and give him his blindfold, we'd better get this week's news out of the way. 10th Fleet refused to resign.
Annual 0G Pong tournament enters second week.
Going for Gold 3. Update.
Egging Tharg on. Secret liaison between the Pilots Federation and the Eight-Sided Menace revealed.
Commander Tyron arrives to provide security.
Hutton's stable.
And the community, as ever, is mostly unstable.
There's something about the number 10 and a total inability to realise that the light at the end of the tunnel is actually Alec Turner in an oncoming scarab. Whether it's the now infamous goings-on at number 10 Downing Street, Hankey's insistence that his 10th Fleet carrier doesn't in fact support the 10th Fleet, or the actual 10th Fleet themselves, the number 10 has become synonymous for going on far beyond the reasonable limits of that ship has sailed. We do wonder whether during the Paladin Wars of 3308 the Eggy Poos were in fact worshippers of the Roman numeral X. The 10th Fleet, an ongoing thorn in Hutton's side, appear to still be insisting that they have a mandate. No, not Netflix and chill, a mandate. Some indescribably silly authority given to them by mismatched statistics, dodgy accounting, and an inability to tell which number is bigger than which other number. Their latest shenanigans surround their political representative over in Barnard's Star, who has declared himself the winner in the latest round of elections against the Sol Workers' Party, who appear to have taken a wrong turn somewhere and are terribly, terribly lost. After recent shenanigans involving the 10th Fleet telling big porcupines about what they've been up to in their free time, spending taxpayers' cash on new duck houses for their pond, and denying utterly that they have anything to do with absolutely anything that might be their fault, the 10th Fleet just refused to realise that they made a huge boo-boo when they decided that Barnard's Star, one of the most famous systems in the galaxy, was their home and they wanted it. Of course, ignoring for a second that not only were the Barnard Star Dockers the leading authority on just about anything there, or that Alvin and the Hutton Truckers were already in charge and running it quite nicely, thank you very much, nor that the infamous Abbott and his mad scatological monkeys really didn't want to change the status quo. Mr. Shouty, Supremo behind the documentary team following the Barnard Stardockers, referred to their political representative as a blonde-haired thundertwonk.
No, he didn't.
Well, it was something like that.
Now you know what he called him.
Yes, but this is a family show.
Yeah, but you can't change the news. Now say it.
Okay. He called him a total wank puffin.
That's better.
Anyway, he used rude words, which was probably accurate, weren't very nice. Their representative, despite being in an election against someone who doesn't own anything useful in system, has insisted that he has a clear mandate to run the system and utterly denied that he's a useless stain upon the mission boards locally, fit only to be the butt of jokes on galactic comedy show Whose Asp Is It Anyway? Alvin has, in consultation with Hutton's 3302 Backbench Committee, that's you, the listeners, has passed a motion, which Snoz has been sent to pick up and post to the 10th Fleet.
Despite all of the planets having seasons of their own, and summer only being summer if you're in the northern hemisphere of Sol, it's summer. You can tell. There are hippies around the standing stones in Stonehenge. The galactic population of Scots have all gone red from going outdoors with their taps off. Of course, the annual Galactic Zero-G Grass Court Pong Championships from Wimbledon are being held. After 2 years of absence due to mods, the tournament is back. Of course, it's no longer held in Wimbledon at sea level, as sea level rises meant it was far too hard to play, unless you're a dolphin, which they tried 1 year, but then dolphins on Earth became extinct, and the ones imported for the tournament violently objected to all the pollution. So, it's held in an orbital facility with a geosynchronous orbit above Wimbledon, which for the night shift is in London, which is in the UK. That little collection of islands that you decided to break away from by destroying Oliver T. Happy 4th of July, by the way, night shifters. Anyway, this year's Pong tournament has seen a return to form for world number 1, Grunty Slav, who is a master of the art of getting the ball over and under the net and flipping from the top to the bottom of the zero-G court acrobatically. Meeting him in the final is qualifier Australian and former member of Hutton's Hops team, the terror of the line judges everywhere, Ace Slicer, who holds the record for the fastest zero-G serve in history at just over 200 miles an hour. With strawberries and cream on the menu and neck braces for everyone attempting to follow the balls cross-court, it's good to see Pong back on the menu for 3308.
At 6 weeks in, and with only 2 weeks to go, we are deep into the second half of Going for Gold 3, Hutton's current squadron exploration event. In a better week for data submissions, Hutton rose briefly to 4th before dropping a place in the squadron table with almost 4 billion points, but with the leaders having over 10 billion. We now have almost 60 truckers contributing data to the overall effort, with many more still out there yet to make their mark. If you want to see what's going on, go to the Going for Gold 3 events page at hot.forthemug.com/going4gold. That's underscores, going_for_gold. Montgomery Python has continued to hold the top spot, adding to his total of 2.6 billion credits, ahead of Happy Moon Monkey, Goothwine, and Ed Hunter on 714 million. The ranks of the 100 million club have swelled by 2 to 18. It isn't too late if you want to take part. All you have to do is you have to have the Hutton Helper running. Download it from hot.forthemug.com. You need to be in the Hutton Squadron. That's Hut as in HUTT. And you need to sell your cartographic exploration data before 7 a.m. on Thursday, the 21st of July, 3308. You have 2 weeks left. So if you haven't already done it, and we'll find out why later on in the Inquisition no one is expecting, get out there and get busy scanning.
Speculation is rife this week that the real aggressor in the human versus metahuman versus evil scientist versus Thargoid conflict isn't an alien. It's the Pilots Federation. With things kicking off in HIP 22460, megaships under attack and on fire, renewed Thargoid incursions, and of course dire threats of the use of superweapons, the Empire, Alliance, and the Federation have come to the sudden realization that the entire thing has been put on by the Pilots Federation. Arf, Pilots Federation spokesperson, broadcaster on the Frameshift Live news channel, and former pirate, has been seen muttering, good, to himself, wearing dark capes, very white makeup, and shooting imaginary lightning out of his fingers. That and cackling a lot. But what does this mean for pilots of the Pilots Federation? Is the elite ranking system just a way of training everyone to do bad things in readiness for them taking over the galaxy? Is the Pilots Federation just building an army or navy, or is it a space force more powerful than the superpowers themselves? Are they behind Salvation, or the Witch, or the superweapon, or the mycoid virus? Is all of this tension deliberately manufactured to sell more ships, more paint jobs, and those funky retro spacesuits? People are quick to point out that the Pilots Federation are also behind the mapping of the galaxy, exobiology, research, and peaceful trade. But is all that just a way of making the cash to start yet another galactic war? Are the Pilots Federation hiding the location of Raxler, rumoured to be Arf's secret base equipped with planet-destroying giant laser beam, ready to start their campaign of galactic dominion? There are rumours that this autumn their evil master plan will be revealed. Safe from their home base in Shinrata Desra, and commanders will be quaking in their boots. Nice, shiny, new boots, of course, only 2,000 arcs from any good outfitter, and a few that aren't so good.
With LaveCon just around the corner, Alvin has taken the extraordinary step of beefing up his security team. Whilst the Momus Bog Spaniel Danger Detachment are definitely on duty for the weekend, Alvin felt that someone entirely more shooty was required to provide trucker security. And who is shootier than Commander Taran? Terror of the spaceways, pirates quake at his very approach. Nearly as scary as Alex Zuno. Taran has been at the heart of many a Hutton battle over the years, and this veteran commander has spent those years living on board his vessel, hardly seeing another soul, but every day honing his skills for that time when he was called upon. That call has now gone out, and a special beluga was sent to his secret base to pick him up and transport him to the Sol system in readiness. He will be accompanying long-retired truckers Psycho Cow T. Mad Cow and his tech monkey, the Simoof, on the haul from Space Glasgow across to the new venue in Milton Keynes. Following that, he will be providing fellow truckers with close protection from any ne'er-do-wells, salty former pilot-turned-author-turned-quitters that he meets, and of course, rampaging brides, fighting wedding parties, and dangerous-looking wildlife throughout the entire weekend. Of course, he's also there to sample all the beers to make sure none of them are poisoned, and as such is most likely to be found hanging around in the bar. Commander Taran, when our hands stop shaking, we'll be sure to be shaking yours, and we promise no truckers will be getting up to shenanigans at all at the weekend, or at least not whilst you're looking.
After last week's kerfuffle of activity, all is strangely quiet in Mop Cupboard number 2. The Master Control Panel's situation fretboard display is all blue and silent after a month of being splattered with red and orange, blaring noisy warnings. The last of the last wave of adverse states ended a couple of days ago, and no new problems have arisen. But more on those stories coming up. The outbreak of mods in Epsilon Eridani was successfully relieved by a number of dedicated truckers in the last couple of days, leaving it on 34%. That's still pretty low, but sufficiently ahead for the Mad Monks of Van Marnen on 19. Admittedly, there is a minor war in the system, but let's take the opportunity to boost this system back into the 40s, where it usually resides. Barnard Star is basking in the temporary glow of not being bottom of the pile, 2 points higher on 36. An election is pending amongst the indigenous herd, but keep plugging away to raise influence in the system. Struggling to recover from the mods outbreak, which hit it 3 weeks ago, our most popular system, Epsilon Indy, has slumped into the special measures zone onto 37. A civil war, tying up a quarter of the system's influence, still has a few days to run, but boost the system when and where you can. Wolf 359 is the fourth of 4 Hutton systems on the naughty step, dramatically slumping to 38%. A watchful eye is being kept in case this turns out to have a cause other than market forces. Chepin has come to Alvin's notice for reasons not entirely good, where the CIA have moved within 5 points of Hutton for the last 3 days, repeating an incident which occurred last month. Hutton News has been led to understand that the hanky clone army has been deployed. At the overachieving end of the Hutton systems table, we have 4 systems above 60%. Priorities this week are, if you want to truck something, boost Epsilon Eridani and Barnard Star. If you want to shoot something, fire even more limpets at even more terraformables, and go for gold for the 3rd time.
My goodness, people get up to some fun things, don't they? I'm amazed that they've had time to tell us about them, but I imagine it's because they want you to all hear about how good their adventures are, and maybe inspire you to join their events, or even to set one up yourselves. This week we have news from: does the sun still rise in the east? At the Eldritch Gate, the Great Sagittarius Expedition, Too Hot, Too Messy, and Treks Express to Deep Space. Links for these events will be posted in the chat and also in the description of the YouTube upload. Commander the Presence's curiosity-fueled trip to the edge of the galaxy and his ale-fueled trip to the bathroom have both been proceeding apace, as he explains in Does the Sun Still Shine in the East, Week 18.
Captain's Log, Stardate 5th of the 7th, 3308. The mission is still proceeding well and is now through the last of the areas of thin space, heading out of Lyra's Song. It's plain sailing and easy plotting from here on inwards. 1/8 of a ton of Conga ale has now been drunk. That's 2 bathtubs full. And for those commanders used to Imperial measurements, that's still 2 bathtubs full. The scanning of all flora is still proceeding apace, with the only downside seeming to be the prevalence of Osseous frustratum on many planets. This species is especially devious, as the first one can be found almost immediately, then the rest all go into hiding across the surface of the planet. This leads to searching for hours and hours over most of the moon's terrain looking for something that shouldn't be hard to spot at all. How a 4 metre tall and wide mushroom can hide from vision, night or otherwise, is a mystery only the Braben, or those folk from Cannon who used to hunt crashed Thargoids via the Mark I eyeball can understand. It isn't just me either. Commander the Huntsman is also more than familiar with this species and has told me in no uncertain terms just what he thinks of them. I reckon he has his own ale supply to deal with too, by the looks of things. I'm currently about 180 jumps from the next rest stop and waypoint, but still well ahead of schedule. I don't have to be there until the 2nd of August, according to the expedition planner, so I can afford the time to meander and poodle about. Until next time, after LaveCom, TTFN 07.
Commander Richard Flurines M is really excited now, as his expedition, and is a big one, even without a Hutton contingent, sets off this weekend, but he still managed to find time to send this note.
The plot thickens as the At the Eldritch Gate expedition is ready to launch. We have almost 180 commanders at the moment, and a total of 16 organizations signed up. We were also featured in Discovery Scanner and the community calendar, albeit with some mysterious time changes. Is this an act of the mysterious unknown planet? Only the expedition can tell for sure. We've also designed a community calendar for our fleet carriers, in which we will display carriers going back and forth, so commanders do not have to jump 20,000 light years to start searching. With over 24 carriers serving, we truly do have coverage and people that can go back and forth on a weekly basis, and people can easily access and leave the area, and truly not be marooned. We also have 2 launch events at different times. Join in to one of them and jump with us to symbolize the start of the Great Search. You might want to be verified, since the events and the launch will be in Richard's private group. More information on the IEA Discord about how you can participate.
A reminder that the man who has a platinum card with the Brewer Corporation, thanks to all the fleet carriers he owns, is getting close to the start of the Great Sagittarius Expedition, which sets off in just under 4 weeks. It's a sort of general purpose exploration. Uniquely, it starts from both the Bubble and Colonia and will take about 2 weeks. Hanky says that it's an expedition to Great Annihilator and Sagittarius A, plus an extended trip to farm some neutron stars on the way back to the Bubble. It's an event for both the Bubble and Colonia, and will use the fleet carriers Searcher and Oasis. There will be plenty of opportunities for exploration, and all are welcome. It will also incorporate the August Hot Bus, and Hanky tells us that after refuelling the carrier, it will go into the Great Annihilator to meet with the Colonia fleet carrier, where they will see if anyone can get sucked into the Great Annihilator. So for anyone who's dreamed of going with Hanky and being sucked into a black hole, this is the ideal voyage for you, once you've finished your course of therapy. If anyone would like to contribute, Hanky will be accepting opinion polls and manufacturing instructions, as he's got more than enough tritium for the journey, thank you very much. A detailed timetable is on the Hutton Facebook event page. Lord Shouty, life model for the Muggy figurine and the man who writes the lists of words that broadcasters are not allowed to say on air, wants to tell us just a little bit about the upcoming event that is too hot, too messy. But he can't. Like Banter on a truth drug, he's unable to stop talking. So please try to sit comfortably as we bring you everything you wanted to know about Too Hot, Too Messy. But we're afraid that he'd tell you, and any complaints about this item should be sent directly to Barnard Star. But first, a little bit of history.
Mods. No, not the people who say your squadron chat is a little bit rude, or the welders of frying pans. The rampant disease that is going through the galaxy faster than a Montgomery python can jump around it. Mods is a serious and debilitating disease that can cause extreme sadness, and in the worst cases, fraud. Many years ago, around tea time, maybe 8 p.m, there was a confabulation between the elders of Hutton Orbital. All the space metal that littered the spaceway between Alpha Centauri Star and our wonderful station, just don't count Cubicle 3, would be collected and recycled into the Hutton mug we all love and worship today.
This was later seen as a huge mistake and really should have been stopped before it started. But truckers are truckers, and being just a little bit insane and, well, truckery. Delivered many, many mugs to the surrounding stations just of their own free will. However, the local coverage of mugs was utter shite, and really everyone should be ashamed. Truckers are many things, but greed should be in the top 3 of things. Delivering mugs within 50 light years just didn't make many credits. So it was only a matter of time before the stations around Hutton started to catch mods. The longing for a mug and the comfort, happiness and bragging rights when you own one can make mods a debilitating syndrome for those who don't own a mug.
Although, in an ideal galaxy, every pilot would own a mug. They're simply too lazy, too laissez-faire, to manage the roughly 90-minute journey to Hutton Orbital to pick up their own very reasonably priced Hutton mug. So, if they won't come to us, then we will have to go to them. An idea first employed by Commander Draxor, as she realised the necessity to mug every station within 50 light years of Hutton Orbital. With every station now having access to an emergency mug, just simply fill it with the beverage of your choice, and for a while your mods will evaporate. Along with most of your beverage if you leave it in the mug too long. This was a huge success in the local area, curing mods for over 4,000 stations. So successful, in fact, that Commander Draxor was awarded the Golden Mug for saving so many people from the onset of mods.
A few rotations of Eden later, it was decided that it would be nice if we could eradicate mods once and for all. The boffins at Hutton got to work calculating that 56,000 stations would all need a delivery of one mug, giving access to an emergency mug to any pilot, especially those mod-ridden ones that needed just a moment with a nice cup of soup in the bar. So once again the call was put out and truckers answered that call with, "You want us to do what?" This was usually followed by a string of expletives, but with the help of other factions and one space apprentice lent to us by the Pilots Federation, we started the slow process of mugging every single station in the galaxy. Truckers went far and wide, but we found them anyway and dragged them back to deliver mugs. Thousands of mugs were sprayed by Flossy alone, teabagging nearly every pilot that visited Hutton Orbital. Nothing quite hits home like Flossy's load bouncing off your canopy. Deliveries were made and in just 90 days the entire galaxy had a mug. Alvin was so happy he didn't bite Norma all day.
But the happiness wasn't to last. The Pilots Federation decided to add many new stations and settlements to the galaxy, and just like a 21st century Prime Minister, it was soon shown that through sheer incompetence and utter couldn't give a shit, many stations had not levelled up to mug ownership. In fact, some of these stations have never seen an outsider in their existence. If just one person with mods were to show up, the entire settlement could be wiped out before we've even made fun of them. We're not even sure if some of the pads work. Some stations have still got the wrapping on them, and their cubicle 3 doesn't glow in the dark. The number of stations with a market recognised by the Pilots Federation is just over 130,000. That's a lot of stations without a mug. A lot of people who could be suffering from mods right now, they need a mug.
However, a good mug is nothing without something to put in that mug. Some stations had literally nothing to put in the mug apart from their own urine. So this time we're also going to provide a complimentary bottle of Mega Gin with every mug delivered. The moderate warming abilities of the mug combined with Hutton's best Centauri Mega Gin provides the ultimate in mod dispersal and can cure with just a single sip. This still won't stop some commanders drinking urine though, although I suppose it is nice and warm.
So, truckers here, there and everywhere, and the thousands of hankies galaxy-wide, we need your trucking time to get this trucking mission done. We need Flossy-like pilots who will spray mugs in your face until you squeal with trucking pleasure. We need many mother truckers who can truck anything anywhere. This is twice as trucking big as the last hot mess. It's so trucking large that it deserves its own special sequel. That's why we're doing Too Hot, Too Messy.
There will be systems that need flipping. There will be stations that have banned alcohol and alcoholics, like the truckers. And we'll have to smuggle them inside the prison purse. There will be systems with more stations than inhabitants, but it matters not, because you will truck them all. Mug after mug, gin after gin, until every single station has been visited, mugged, ginned, and utterly trucked up. Mods is a serious syndrome and disease. Help us eradicate it. Help every station get a mug. Coming soon.
News now of a brand new expedition. It's Trex Express to deep space. Commander Trex Eyes Only has brought us news of their event, which sounds like fun.
Exploring deep space, Trex Express is heading for the farthest point in the galaxy, Beagle Point, and much more. Led by Trek's squadron and its carriers, it is expected to be approximately a 1 month, one-way journey and an additional month expected for the return home. Trex is a very young team of gamers of various ages and experience playing simulations and FPS games, and they're looking forward to meeting more commanders in Elite Dangerous. Trex is the managing player faction of the Trex Trade Brotherhood, which is a guild made up of strong traders. They share a great amount of wealth within the squadron, earning billions at once with wing mining missions. The journey to Beagle Point begins on July 29th, Friday at 2000 UTC, and, as might be expected, departs from the Trex Trade Brotherhood home system, Turmakul. Commanders willing to take part should join the Trex Discord server, and they can submit their proposals for points of interest to visit together, as the flight plan will be adjusted according to commanders' wishes. For example, Sagittarius A star, the centre of our galaxy, has already been added to the list. Mining is not required, but if you do like mining from time to time, tritium buy orders with a profit will be open on the fleet carrier for miners and traders, and one is already active right now. Trex started preparation on one of its carriers for this long trip, with comfort and fun being the priority. Nice interiors, services including shipyard, Vistagenomics, Pioneer Supplies, and of course, the bar for parties are activated. Everybody's invited for this trip, from beginners to experts, anyone who loves exploration, endurance tests, and who wants to meet new friends. The Trex motto is "Let's have fun together and let's explore together." The Trex team will continue to provide regular updates about the progress of the trip, and here's a short video showing the facilities being installed on our fleet carrier and having a quick inspection of all those lovely services.
Today our mission is to add some additional services to our fleet carrier, because we are planning on July 29 to start a deep space trip, and before this we want all the services available for our passengers and friends.
As always, if you know of any events we've missed, email itookpart@huttonorbital.com to let us know.
And that's it for the news bit. Oh, whew, we're back in the studio. I'm back in the studio. I had a couple of weeks of being away. I understand last week was totally seamless.
There weren't any seams. There were no seams, just gaps.
Yeah, I watched the I watched the YouTube version, which was seamless.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. There's a reason for that. Somebody spent a couple of hours making sure it seemed that way. Apart from the people at the end talking about the seams, which I'd taken out, which they wouldn't have known about if they hadn't talked about it.
See, that's the problem. Once you start editing, half of it ends up on the cutting room floor, and you go from a full space opera epic to basically a small advert.
So why didn't you edit out the talking about the seams that weren't in the show? It seems.
There's bothered and there's can't be bothered.
Do we have to edit the
fell
talking
into
about the
second
seams
stuff.
this week? The seams weren't there. Oh, anyway,
Yes.
totally
Yeah, quite.
seamless. So yes, well, thank you very much. And well, we've got a little bit of what have we got here? A few bits and pieces in the script to cover before we go on to the rest of the show. We do have a full studio this evening. I am joined by the ever so retiring Boo, Harry Ballsack, also known as Commander Palantir.
Hello, everyone.
Now, have we let everybody know yet? We've let everybody in here know, but have we let everybody out there know?
No, we have not let them know.
Well, everybody has to tune in next week because it's the last one.
Not on the Thursday, though.
No,
Not on the Thursday. No.
No. Tune in on Saturday at the LaveCon because that will be my last Hutton radio show. I am retiring from the radio show.
The men and women in white coats are coming to take you away at some point during the evening next Saturday.
Which is why I'm retiring first.
If you see anyone with a dart gun and a big butterfly net, you know that's you they're coming for.
Yeah. But we're not going to linger too much on that this week because I'm sure we can talk about it next week or talk behind your back after you're gone. So suffice to say,
the way I'd do it.
This is the first normal show. Last normal show.
How much is the pension? How much is the Hutton pension?
Well, the amount I've paid, everything I've paid in times 10.
Excellent. Oh, sounds.
That does
How
sound
much did you
good.
pay in?
I might give that a whirl.
Well,
Everything I'm worth.
he'll be paying for it for the rest of his life. We've got recordings. Yes.
Just his soul.
But suffice to say, for those of you listening on the radio show here that maybe can't listen next Saturday, don't forget to say bye-bye to Commander Palantir. Now, this does not mean that Commander Palantir is vanishing off the face of the orbital. It just means that his voice is vanishing off the face of this show. Doesn't it?
Soylent
yes.
Green.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
We could still have him as a guest.
From time to time.
Every week.
You can become a stunty presenter.
No, that's Mia.
We can get you to be in it. We can get you to write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
Yes. I'm around. I'm getting off, off the treadmill, off the roundabout, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, as with anything sort of Hutton related, it's this is purely optional. A bit like tuning in on a Thursday evening, or even listening to the podcast. It's dip in, dip out. We had Dead Meat.
Optional, for goodness sake.
We had Dead Meat the other week, and he jumped ship, but then came back again because he missed us, and it happens.
Oh, yeah.
And Cow, of course, will be back next week, or at least hiding behind a curtain somewhere, like the Wizard of Oz. During the LaveCon one, and he pops up occasionally. So it's going to be sad to not have you on the team here during the week, but it is going to be just as good.
Chance to get
sad for you, obviously.
Getting bloody play the game now.
Well,
Sad
yes,
for you, obviously. We're
right.
delighted.
you've got 2 weeks for getting your going for gold 3.
I should have got my key binding sorted by then.
And I'm assuming you might help a little bit. Just pick one system or two with the too hot, too messy.
You know they've got
yes.
planetary
Yeah, of course I've
landings
got
now,
to.
don't you, Sean?
Yes. I'm Flossy showed me how to do that. It's you just face away from it and turn your engines off. That's how you land.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I know.
I'm pretty
One
sure
go.
your ship's still in lave, isn't it? It was for Operation Orange Peel.
Oh, yeah, well, it's still a wireframe
When was
one.
that?
Mine, I think.
18 months ago.
Well, to be fair, it's probably still doing the original Hutton run. It's just an awful lot of light years beyond Hutton now.
I heard it's a Cobra Mark 1.
No, at the moment I'm in a purple python called the Carol Cleveland.
Okay. Well, you were last time you checked, you mean?
Yes. Yeah, well, last time I fired up the Hutton Helper. Yes, I shall have to do a Hutton run as my first.
It'll be the Carol's Cleavage now.
Mm-hmm.
We've put it through the naughty INIV ship name generator.
Now,
Yes.
of course, the excuse you filled out on the paperwork with Alvin is you are retiring to spend more time with your family, which, of course, we know is a euphemism for, oops, I've done something naughty, the police are after me. I'd better quit quickly before there's some committee hearing and, all those kind of things. But,
That kind of thing. I shall bluster on until the end, until everyone tells me it's time to go.
yeah. Well, but obviously, the one...
Sean,
What?
Yeah.
time to go.
Piss off.
We will be making a couple of small changes. I mean, other than just chopping your name off the desk there. Excuse me. We are going to still be communicating with the community because you have been the focus of all these community pieces that come in and then Flossy presents for us with help. We're going to make a couple of changes to that and invite people to actually come to a super special channel on our Discord, where if they submit things in time, they run a small chance of managing to get into the show that week. Because, unfortunately, some of us, unlike your very retired self, are maybe not blessed with all the time in the world to beat people around the head with baseball bats, or cricket bats, or tennis bats, to say, get your stuff in, get it in now, otherwise it's not going to be on. So, yes, we are going to sort of have to leave it up to the community a bit to remember to tell us. We will prod them a little bit, but... but yeah, it's just sad to see you go. It has been enormous fun over the last few years, and between us, we've added more seams than are sensible,
and are warranted and are illegal, basically.
But it wouldn't be Hutton without these things.
Absolutely. So I put some in last week. It could have been perfect. 2 weeks before that was perfect, but I thought, go make my last one where I'm pushing buttons, one with seams in it.
Well, I mean, everybody else was perfect, and if it wasn't for your efforts, there would have been no seams at all.
Absolutely. So somebody had to do it, and since for once you lot didn't do it, I had to. Yes.
Well,
I'm off.
Well, you've got to stay around for the rest of this show, and of course, remember to turn up on Saturday and not get mods in the meantime. Then next in the studio here we have Amelia. Good evening,
Hello.
Amelia. Are we excited yet? Are we getting all clappy yet about LaveCon?
I am so excited. Yes.
Because you've had this ticket for how long now?
Years. Like it's literally been years.
It's 100 rares worth of years or something,
I've lost count.
Yep.
I've just lost count.
We haven't decided which of the rares we're giving you next week to read out. We'll find a suitable one.
Okay.
We're going to go with a blast from the past for next week.
Ooh.
For the benefit of the listener. We're going to pick one of them, maybe the one more dangerous or salacious or something, to read out from stage. Any suggestions? Gladly accepted.
I think people should be. Twitch chat is open for suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, that one with the llamas. I quite enjoyed that one. The army of drama llamas. The one with the red crystals, where you had to, abseil down into the cavern of red crystals and not get red on you. That was a decent one. And some of those plants, the ones that chase you. Oh, yes.
Remember that one? They made a sport out of it,
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Remember when you were stood on top of Benny Hill?
I thought it was Murray's Hump, or am I thinking of the wrong thing?
No, that's the wrong thing.
Oh, right, fine.
Be very careful you don't say, "Come on, Tim."
Right. Oh, dear. And we also have the Apology Officer, who now is mods free.
Yeah, largely.
You have long mods, though, I understand.
I don't have a cough that lingers, that's all.
Just blame it on long mods.
Yes,
Maybe somebody will be sympathetic and give you a Hutton mug with some gin in it next week. You never know.
I've got a Hutton mug and I don't drink gin.
Okay. Well, Flossy will drink the gin for you.
Okay then.
I was just thinking that.
I knew I could hear the cog turning. And we also have Flossy in the studio. Good evening, Flossy.
Good evening.
Now, obviously, we do have your CG news coming up later, but you got caught on the hop this week.
I certainly did. Goodness me.
We're going to tell us about it later, so no spoilers allowed. But
Okay.
they really caught you and the rest of the CG monitoring team on the hop.
It did.
Yes.
Mostly me, because I'm the only one who had the time to do anything.
The joys of being mostly retired, yes. And finally, in the studio this evening, we have the superhero himself who rescued me from hunger, from starvation earlier in the week, Commander Chicks.
Good evening. That was Commander Nando's.
That was a cheeky Nando's, yes. Having caught up with Commander Chicks the previous week when I was escaping from the attack of killer vegans, and enjoying a bite of dinner out with Commander Aiden, as I recall, over in, I don't know, somewhere near a prison, I think it was, wasn't it? With a prison covered in flowers.
Yes. You've got flowers in your moat.
Yep. So we went there, and to recover from an attack of the killer vegans, we just ate barbecued meat, an awful lot. But then an impromptu visit on Monday to London with an UEC help. We need somebody in London. Landed me on your nearly literal doorstep, but I mean in the grand scheme of things, galactic scale, it was on your doorstep.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
And then discovered that on Monday nights London was shut.
Well, bits of it.
Well, the bits that mattered.
Well, it is the city after all.
The bits near where we were, and we were hungry, yes.
It's funny, you were in Meat Central at Smithfields there, and
there was no meat. There was no pie.
meat.
Nope. But we did have a cheeky Nando's. It was good to see you again. It was
Presumably, if it was Nando's you were going to, Chicks in this case is spelled CKS. No?
Is that Portuguese?
CHICKS, oh goodness sake.
Yes. No, we do good.
it was he popped my Nando's cherry as well. I've never been to a Nando's.
Well, it
It's
was
like
the only
posh
place still
KFC.
serving other than...
Well, a posh is stretching it, I must admit.
Yeah, well, they were very pleasant there. They were very pleasant.
They were
yeah.
they were a nice crew, yes.
And
They were open.
so, Commander Chicks, I have to quiz you like we do normally about the Frontier live stream that was on earlier today.
Except it wasn't.
What? But next week's the off week.
And this week's the off week. Well, next week's a half off week.
Oh, it's a buy one get one.
50% off, yes.
Ah, okay. So, so next week
That's so bad.
we are not. They're not doing.
What do you expect?
a what do they call it? A frame shift live.
Yeah,
And we're not doing a Hutton Orbital live. And are Lave doing a Lave live
I believe so.
on Tuesday, as well as Saturday?
Well, hang on, ask me about stuff I know about.
Okay, basically all the live stuff's moving to Saturday because we're all going to
Yes.
be in one place at the same time. So tune in, and I believe Lave Radio are going to be broadcasting the whole thing, and the Hutton we're going to be doing a slash host on the show as well on our Twitch channel. But then they're going to give us a copy that we can put up on our YouTube-y thing, GalTube and whatever for afterwards as well. We have special guests coming, confirmed now. Drum roll, please. No, I haven't got.
Oh, but
You see,
I was on the wrong page. Hang on, here we go. I was on the wrong page.
There we go. You see,
Seamless.
it's not right if I don't trip you up on your last proper show. So, other than me, who else is aware of who's coming? Just before I put you on the spot and you haven't got a clue. I think the apology officer knows a couple of names, don't you? No.
Hang on.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I know names. I know loads of names.
So do we have a couple of special guests on Hutton Live next week?
Oh, all right, those
Yep.
names.
So
Oh,
the
okay.
double act that's coming along, the regular Hutton special event double act is going to be joining us of...
Davin Dom in the bungalow.
Davin Dom in the bungalow will be on stage. And then Commander Palantir, they will be joined by...
Oh, there's going to be it's going to be some. There's a bald gentleman.
The tall
coming
chap.
along.
Giant. Yes. The one we mentioned earlier in the news that is probably behind all of the bad things in the galaxy. Yes, Arf.
Ming the Merciless.
Yes. The rugged, what is it? He's called rugged landscape specialist or something. Anyway, he will be joining us along with the rest of the CM team that he'd do the frame shift live. So it will be Flossy. Who are the other two guys?
Oh,
Them. You know them.
them, yeah.
Yeah. That chap and the other one. Yeah. That'll be Zach and Bruce.
Jack and Bruce, that's it.
Steak
yeah.
Garrido. He's going.
Yep, but we have a super special extra guest joining us as well, who, as far as we can tell, Commander Palantir, is the second longest serving designer on Elite. I think.
Yes, and yes, doesn't he work as a magician the rest of the time?
No, he's not. He's not that one. It's Darren.
Not that one.
Yeah,
Oh.
Darren from the actual design team will be joining apparently as well.
He's
all
the
of
joint longest.
the joint longest. There we go. Not second.
The
Joint.
longest joint.
That was in last week's show. We covered that.
Yes. Anyway, so he'll be joining us as well live from stage. Well, we've been told this by the pilot of the PWAF, who has got the big rawhide whip out and will be standing behind them, cracking it until they get onto the stage. So if you want to hear from some of the devs at LaveCon, the best way to do it is to tune in to Hutton Live. There you go. So there's
Every
something.
word will be true.
Okay, now we're going to have to prefix this one, but every single word they say is words that we've put in their mouths, not something they've come up with. So if you hear anything controversial, you can blame Palantir because he's retiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I failed the Cheyenne bit before, so
We also are likely to have special guest star Taran as well. Taran 4295 joining us in some security role during the show.
probably more in a bedroll.
Oh dear. Right. Now, Commander Chicks. The most exciting thing, other than LaveCon, that's about to happen in a few days' time.
Well, that's the question. What's the most exciting thing that's about to happen in a few days' time? And we're all invited, remember?
You're going to have to give me a bigger hint.
Okay. Do you remember last Christmas? Not
No.
that,
Da, 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 da.
that bloody schmaltzy George Michael song either. What? Apart from...
Didn't he give you his heart?
Glad you
He gave it
Very
away.
next day, gave it away.
What happened on Christmas morning last year?
No.
Mostly disappointment for a lot of people.
Do you remember the rocket? The rocket.
The rocket? Ronnie?
Remember
I'm
that
not
big
that old. You want Stevenson? No.
bloody big rocket that went up? The
Oh,
James Webb
one of them, the
Space
NASA thing.
Telescope.
The NASA thing, yes. Oh, the big eyeglass in the sky, Jobby.
Yeah. Well, on Tuesday next week, we get to see the first pictures.
Ooh, is this pictures complete with the micrometeorite holes?
Well, they've in technical term, they buggered about with it, so you won't be able to see those.
Why have they buggered about with it?
Because they got hit by micrometeorites, which affects the one of the mirrors, the C3 mirror.
Imagine you're the monitoring member of staff over there at James Webb Space Telescope Control, and you're just sitting there wondering what's going on up there, and you hear ping. And
Well, you can't, because in space nobody can hear you.
Oh no, it's a
Meteorites.
soundscape. It's a bit like in your cockpit. It's a soundscape, and you look down at your computer, and there's a message, and then you look at the pictures of itself, and you realise, oh, there's a whacking great tiny hole in my
Whacking great
gold
tiny.
space telescope. Yeah, a whacking great.
Well, it can't be whacking great and tiny.
Well, yes,
You
maybe.
can do if you're whacking Phoenix. He's very short.
Oh dear. Anyway, it's going to be overshadowed by the utter nonsense that
You'll
is
miss
LaveCon,
this.
but we're gonna see some first pictures from the James Webb Space Telescope, which I'm sure will roll into a show somewhere.
But you've got to wait till Tuesday next week.
Do we know which direction it's pointing for these pictures?
Away from the sun?
Okay, right. Not the Pleiades or a HIP 22460. You know, you haven't got Atras
Well, we-
5060 in charge or
Well,
Axwing.
can we figure it out from now? I'm sure we can.
Right, we'll do it for a future show. But some of the light's taken 13 billion years to get here, so we can wait for a few more
Yeah,
days.
and somebody will still have blinked when it happens.
Absolutely.
Somebody
And
will
a
have their
server
eyes
says
shut.
thumb over the top of it, yeah.
Right. So I think for our bantery bit, that might just be getting close to everything this week.
We're all nodding.
You're all nodding. So I reckon it's
I was on mute. I was talking to myself. On mute. Do you
probably...
think-
If
do you
Flossy, are
think
you
the-
ready?
I'm ready, yes.
And there are no small mammals anywhere near.
Why not?
Good.
You're sure?
Yes,
I mean, there's a noise in the vents up there that sounds mysteriously like I don't know, a snuffling noise, sort of an anteatery kind of noise.
Oh, like an aardvark?
Aardvark!
Aardvark!
There's an aardvark? Where?
Aardvark!
Aardvark!
Down the stairs.
Aardvark!
It's Flossy next.
It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. It's Flossy. And the community goes.
Hello, Flossy here with this week's Community Goals News. First, last week's CG. Urgent request for supplies in HIP 22460. It finished between tiers 2 and 3 with 17,174,555 units collected. There is an ongoing CG that started on Tuesday and ends next Tuesday at 600 UTC. The Azimuth Biotech requires Guardian artifacts. Azimuth Biotech urgently requires deliveries of Guardian artifacts to HIP 22460 as vital components of the Proteus wave. Salvation issued an official request to the Allied, Federal and Imperial task forces, which was then shared via public channels. We have now begun assembly of the Proteus wave. Our existing stockpile of Guardian material was sufficient to begin construction, but we must now establish a supply line capable of delivering the quantity needed to finish the weapon. Azimuth Biotech has established an initiative to encourage independent pilots to supply the Bright Sentinel megaship with Guardian commodities. Azimuth are also offering additional ship deliveries to contributors. Pilots can deliver any combination of Guardian caskets, orbs, relics, tablets, totems, urns and keys to the Bright Sentinel megaship in the HIP 22460 system. The top 75% of contributors will receive an Azimuth Deliverance paint job for the Crate Mark II, Eagle and Fer-de-Lance. The first stage of the campaign began on the 5th of July 3308 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. To earn rewards, you must sign up as an active participant before delivering Guardian caskets, orbs, relics, tablets, totems, urns and keys to the Bright Sentinel megaship in the HIP 22460 system. And that's it for this week's CG News.
Flossy told you what to do.
Thank you, Flossy. Who's on next? Or is who on first? I thought, who's on third and what's on first? Oh, I don't know, but I think he's on second. Whoever and whatever. To ease the confusion, on next are the Abbott and Costello of Galnet News. It's Beetlebot and Wotherstello.
Galnet News Digest, 7th of July 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, it's all go for Salvation. The Federation has had another go at law enforcement, and we take a lesson in ship identification.
Following the conclusion of Azimuth Biotech's appeal for medicines and armour to be delivered to the Heart of Taurus megaship in HIP 22460, commanders have been asked to continue delivering Guardian artifacts to the Bright Sentinel megaship, also in HIP 22460. Meanwhile, Salvation has revealed more details about his plan. Explaining that the Guardian components in the Proteus Wave device will draw in Thargoids, whose instinct is to destroy the technology before it can be used against them, Salvation has stressed that the Bright Sentinel must be protected from Thargoid attack until the Proteus Wave device can be constructed. The Proteus Wave device will be constructed at one of the Thargoid sites on the currently permit-locked moon HIP 22460-10b. It will use the Thargoid structure to amplify the electromagnetic pulse to permanently disable every Thargoid vessel within range. Salvation did not specify what the range of the weapon will be. Will it be one system or many? Will it clear the entire galaxy of Thargoids? For everyone wishing to help Salvation, the priority is to keep the Thargoids occupied. They currently seem to be concentrating their firepower on the 3 flagships, the Alliance megaship Oath of Tandarius, the Farragut-class battlecruiser Fortitude, and the Majestic-class interdictor Audacious Dream, which have been fitted out with experimental and largely untested anti-Xeno weaponry. The Federation and Empire have both committed to deploy further defences into the system when it becomes necessary. The Alliance has not made a similar commitment. The Federal Intelligence Agency has started cracking down on the Red Family crime syndicate following a decision made at the highest level that the cartel's drug dealing within the Federation had reached unacceptable levels. The intelligence-driven raids are being conducted across multiple star systems with assets belonging to the Red Family seized. Bethany Blake of the FIA explained that the raids were made possible by the Proactive Detection Bureau intercepting communication between members of the gang. The FIA's goal is to arrest Oberon Church, who is believed to be the mastermind behind the criminal organisation. The Red Family were last in the news in July 3305, when co-founder Jan Sandoval chose to provide intelligence to the FIA due to her concerns over a more than usually addictive drug that the Red Family had been pushing within the Federation. Sandoval was murdered while in FIA protective custody, leaving Church free to continue trading in this new deadly drug. Now, 3 years later, it seems like the FIA are making another attempt to close the operation down. It's unclear at this stage if the FIA will be calling on independent pilots to assist them in their crime-busting activities, or how this may fit in with Salvation's Thargoid-busting schedule.
We at Galnet Digest take an interest in what other news outlets are saying. It is with some consternation that we notice that the presenters of some other shows have been having some trouble with their ship identification skills. The ability to tell you what you're confronting can be the difference between life and death. So let's learn to spot a ship just by its silhouette. Let's start with an easy one. What could this orange shape be? As a clue, it's manufactured by Falcon de Lacy and is an absolute classic. Well, we tricked you with this one. This is actually the Cobra Mark the Cobra Mark III in its juvenile form. When mature, the Cobra is about 4 times bigger than this little tiddler and much more recognisable. Space inflation means that not many pilots ever see this ship, as their second ship after the Sidewinder is the Anaconda. This one is a great all-rounder, though. Any guesses? Yes, it's the Fer-de-Lance. Great ship. Universally loved. Everyone knows the Anaconda is the officially designated space sausage, but why is this smaller ship from the same stable? As I'm sure you all guessed, it's the Space Chipolata, with its wacky off-centre pilot seat beloved by so many. This is an unusual ship. It's smaller than it looks, if that helps. And it comes out of other ships, like a baby kangaroo coming out of its mother's pouch. This terrain-hugging ship-launched fighter is the ever-popular XG-9 Lance Human Guardian hybrid ship, with its impressive Gauss cannon. Now, here's a ship you can't fly yet, although folk keep hoping they might be coming soon. The shape should be a dead giveaway. Yes, it's the legendary Zorgon Peterson Panther Clipper. Bigger, slower, and less fun to fly than the Type 9, and it doesn't even fit through the two strap. Yet somehow it seems everyone wants to fly one. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to.
Thank you, Commanders Beetlebot and Wotherstello. Now, wow, it's all kicking off, isn't it? Well, now here's Mia Harkness with the full rundown on who's been shooting, hauling, or scanning to excess. It's the Hutton Helper results.
Welcome to the Hutton Helper results. The Hutton Helper results are sponsored by the Hutton Helper, the only third-party resource to come with a free, brightly coloured parasol for those really hot planets. This week we have the following events: the hiding in the shadiest part of the galaxy shield, the bringing in factor 1000 for all the ginger commanders out there, Deja Vu trophy, the bring me a funny feat, 299s, a feast and a mini milk challenge, the come here till I put calamine lotion on you, Champion of Champions Championship, the Mods and Rockers at Brighton in the olden days, Quadrophenia Charity Shield, and the one more word out of you and I'll turn this spaceship round the block, go home extravaganza. So, pack the car, set off early, and don't forget the disposable barbecue. This week's Hutton Helper results are: the Shriek jumped 155,000 light years to come first in distance travelled. The Berk sold 60,000 tonnes of goodies. Top mission runner is Aiden with 351 mission points. Johnny S cashed in 93 million credits worth of bounties. And Attic 2 handed in 134 million credits of combat bonds. Gotensk 82 delivered 526 people to their various destinations. A decal this week for Commander Blythe, which is with 2 Ds, so it must be Welsh, and that's for Overmind. Yeah, it sounds Welsh. Anyway, email ItookPart@HuttonOrbital.com and arrange to collect your Hutton decal kit, which this week consists of a stripy windbreak, Factor 50 sunblock, and a ridiculously large floppy hat. There is one Hutton run this week. Jintosh brought in vital supplies in 1 hour, 23 minutes and 55 seconds for 99th place overall. Speaking of 99s, they're back on now as Jintosh brought those slightly smaller than normal flakes for sticking in your cones, as it were. They also brought us a Mr. Whippy robot. It turned out to be the wrong kind of Mr. Whippy, so we've sent it down to Wonders instead. Anyway, there's a whole galaxy of stuff out there needing shipped, shot, rescued, looted, repaired, destroyed, bought, sold, squeezed, inflated, burnt, frozen, liquidated, evaporated, sandblasted, sponged down, smelled, licked, extruded, discombobulated, recombobulated, rubbed, compressed, enveloped, siphoned, regurgitated, strained, fermented, poached and probinated. And you can earn yourself a very fetching Hutton decal for doing it. To get involved, you just have to go to hot.forthemug.com and download or sign up for the delicious new Hutton Helper, available in 3 exciting formats. Let's face it, anything has to be better than falling asleep on the beach and waiting to discover someone has written "I heart the 10th Fleet" on you in sunblock. Anyway, that's it for this week. Back to Studio 5.
Thank you, Mia. Now, soon it's the Galnet Res Digest, but first, an emergency broadcast from Galnet News. courtesy of Commanders Ramforth and Skandranon.
This is an emergency broadcast from Galnet News. War has broken out in the Valhalling system, home of the Galactic Vikings, and they have reportedly been ripped out of their station. Vikings everywhere are standing up, clashing their swords against their shields, ready to fight. Let's go over to the Valhalling system for more information.
I see. Your head didn't explode. How disappointing. I've also shot your friends. No thanks to you. It did bring me some glee to shoot Mr. Oh, look at me. Now I'll burn your whole squadron and you. All those lonely stars let you fly. Now you'll fly with no one by your side. Did you ever even care with your guns and your stupid stare? Now watch me laugh as I burn all the Frenchmen and you. What for do you yearn? It's the point of no return. After everything we did, we saw. You stole my system from me. What for do you yearn? Watch that Frenchie burn. At the end of my days when I'm through, no word I bring will ring quite as true as burn, Frenchie, burn, Frenchie, burn, 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 burn. Watch me burn all your squadron and you.
The Vikings wipe their blades of the enemy's blood. War has been won. Triumph to the Vikings. Once again, they sit where they belong. Valhalling is now back in the hands of the Galactic Vikings. Celebrations will go on through the night. All hail the Vikings!
Good evening. This is Amelia Hawke reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest. We try all the galaxy's rarest and most dangerous commodities, so you don't have to. As it has been a long time since we all travelled back across the galaxy to meet up in one place, it's about time I let you in on a secret. The Galnet Rares Digest is just one small chapter of a much larger book. And it's a book that's been around in various forms for an awfully long time. If the words "space is big" mean anything to you, and you instinctively know that the rest of that line says "really big," you just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the chemist, but that's just peanuts to space. Listen. Then you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the original book is purely fictional and has advice on what to do if you're offered a lift from a Vogon. Hint, don't. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy nonetheless became the go-to guide for budding space travelers from the very earliest days of extraterrestrial exploration. After all, Douglas Adams could have been an alien and had all that secret knowledge. Of course, despite its jauntily written "Don't Panic" on the cover, and words of wisdom about things like Babel fish, towels, and poetry, it turns out that the galaxy is actually scarier in real life. Sometime in the early 3000s, it was decided that a real guide should be created. Something that accurately, but in much the same manner as the original H2G2 irreverently, provided advice for the space traveler. That was the Flight Trader's Manual. But it was decided that despite some great hand-drawn illustrations, it just wasn't dynamic enough. So they simply named it the Galactic Travel Guide and was created by some rather clever boffins over at Bluford Orbital in LHS 3447. It started out life as a simple index of planets. If you look up Lave, for instance, it simply says, Lave is most famous for its vast rainforests and Lavian tree grubs. It didn't unfortunately tell you where Lave was. More interesting were descriptions like, this planet is very notable for its inhabitants' weird shyness and Ususorian edible poet. Or when talking about Zeons, this planet is a tedious place. It was filled with blue slimy frogs, fat black felines, edible poets, and dangerous sounding earthquakes. My job over the last few years, and that of the whole range of reporters from the Galnet Rares Digest and associated chapters, has been to fill in the blanks. They might be edible poets, but how do they taste? Where is Ususor? And of course those Rardian mountain slugs. How exactly do you catch one without causing a landslide? Not all of these descriptions have turned into tradable rare goods. Some of them are lost to time, or just too dull to sell to the open market. Others are so rare that they're protected. But trust me, I've found many of them, and eaten, captured, photographed, licked, or been chased by many others of them. But the book itself has grown, but not in actual size. After all, this is the 3300s. It's a robust tablet computer connected to a frameshift comms network back to the servers at Bluford. The cover, well, if you've been a listener to the Galnet Rares Digest for a while now, you'll realize that "Don't Panic" just isn't appropriate. That, and it's still copyrighted to the original author, even after all this time. It has the rather more appropriate word "panic" written on the cover. A print of Edvard Munch's The Scream on the cover, and the title Galactic Travel Guide. Don't say we didn't warn you. Gone is the entry about towels. Towels are out. They won't stop a laser blast or the fires of re-entry. They won't stop you getting stuck in a toast rack or ending up as Space Jam after misreading the position of a decimal point on the gravity data on the world you're approaching. As for the Babel fish, that was far too complicated. The Pilots Federation had a far better idea. Teach everyone English. And not that one with the funny spelling, British English, which is why I read the entries out like this each week in this accent. My little bit of the book is a little wordier than the basic entries. Under Karsuki Locus, it just says, yum. Alongside the picture of a bucket of organophosphates, there's just the word boom. But click on the Go On Tell Me More button, and you'll hear me telling you exactly why that rare gemstone is fatal, or about that particular plant that will suck you dry and use you as fertilizer. Suffice to say, there are quite a few rares left that I'm looking forward to trying out. And of course, there are those other items, the rares so rare you can't actually buy them. But, for now, get yourself to Bluford Orbital. Get your hands on the Galactic Travel Guide. Take heed of the warning on the cover, and don't forget, If you find yourself in a nasty scrape after not reading up on the native species of that particular jungle planet, you can always bludgeon your way out of trouble. I'm Amelia Hawke, reporting for the Galnet Rares Digest, and I've written whole chapters on this stuff, so you don't have to.
Cool. You mean there's more than just rares out there?
There is. Vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly more.
I mean, yeah, an awful lot more. I mean, yeah, Zeonce, this is a tedious place. I mean, it's full of bankers. An awful lot
Full of bankers, yeah.
It's a bunch of bankers.
It's very
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I had no idea. I mean, obviously, the word Galnet, I mean, they've bought up everything. They've got, GalTube and Galbook and GalTwit and the Galnet News Digest, GalWeb, and so they bought up just about everything. But I didn't realise that your work
and
here...
And the escort agency, GalGals.
Oh, dear. I thought that was a cooking ingredient. Oh, that's Gal, yes. But yeah, I had no idea that your work was part of this sort of magnum opus of stuff about the galaxy.
And a big ice cream.
And yeah, the travel agency, Gallivanting.
Oh
God, that's so bad.
and that there's great outfitters, Galoshes Inc. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that, but I thought I'd put my foot in it.
Hey! And this is why our listener tunes into this particular show. But
because they have nothing else to do.
Oh dear. But yeah, I mean, there are things like, and we've not yet managed to find them in the original descriptions. There were these fat black felines, the edible poets. There were, I mean, some of them have turned into rares, I think. I think Ozazian tree grubs might be one of the original ones, possibly. I can't remember.
You'd have to go and find some annotated code and look through it.
Oh no, I did that. I'm bringing that machine with me over to LaveCon next week. That's the thing. Yes. But yes, I'm bringing the my little computer with me that's got all of them programmed into it, and it jumps between all of them over the period of many hours, including all the rotating ships and all that stuff. That's going to be in the retro room.
I think it wasn't Vicious Brew in there.
Vicious Brew.
Yeah, I was just. If you guys cover for me for a minute, I was just looking up. Actually,
the sillier they sound, they tend to come from the original.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there was the evil juice as well.
From the minds of schoolboys.
Leistian evil juice, yes.
Leistian evil juice.
Oh, we did that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We won't forget that in a hurry.
Yeah. I'm hoping it'll wear off soon. Before next week.
I was just trying to find my original list actually, but I'm not sure. Excuse me, and I'm not sure I've actually got it to hand, even though I've only just closed that page, of course. Which was I'm sure I did this bit earlier in the afternoon, but no, can't remember. I've completely lost it. Here we go. Do I have it? Classic. Classic. Here we go. Yes. So Leisti, the planet Leisti, is reasonably fabled for 0G cricket and Leistian evil juice. So that was one of the original descriptions. We've got the world Arte is scourged by killer mountain lobstoids. We've got to send Amelia to go and find out about killer mountain lobstoids.
Lobstoids, not lobster.
No, lobstoids, yes.
No, well, they live in the mountains, don't they?
Yeah, they're not the aquatic.
Yes.
Are they anything like Rocky Mountain oysters?
Well,
see, closely related cousin.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what they said about the Rocky Mountain oysters.
Well, the planet Leanin is famous for its inhabitants' ancient loathing of sitcoms, but cursed by a killer disease.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, there are some really good ones here. Ancient loathing of casinos and plagued by deadly earthquakes. Evil tree leopards. Here we go. Anleri. It has the Anlerian spotted shrew and evil tree leopards.
Is that leopards
trees
that live in
evil,
evil
or
trees?
the
You got to
lizards
worry
evil?
anything with the word. You got to worry about anything with the word evil in its actual
Yeah,
name.
Bemera is most notable.
What, like evil?
Bemerian deadly
Evil?
seasoid
evil.
and its inhabitants' unusual silliness. That sounds like your kind of place.
Yeah.
Adel,
Seville. So what about Seville? That's a very nice town, and it's got evil in it.
Savile. Oh my God, that's like the worst place ever.
It's good for oranges.
we've got the Bierlian deadly Einoid.
Now then.
There's Mazian lethal water. Oh, this one's good.
Oh yeah, you've got to get you to drink Mazian lethal water. What happened? I died.
Alescu. It's reasonably notable for its great volcanoes. Perfect for exploring, I would think, but ravaged by vicious shrews. That's just a tongue twister in itself.
Yeah,
Vicious
they can be tamed.
shrews. Yep.
We can tame those.
Yep, and we might have to send you to some of these as well. There's a great one here which is known for its exotic nightlife.
Okay.
It's not Milton Keynes.
Definitely said exotic. Yeah.
Oh, you've checked, have you?
So yeah, there are many pink Esonoril tulip plantations. They sound nice.
Sounds pretty. Yeah, they
It's
sound
all right.
nice.
It said pink. Oh, I had Sally will have all of those.
Yep. But yeah, so the world is your mollusk, as they say, or the galaxy is.
There's occasion preparing everybody for the fact when everything left in the rares list is a beer or something you smoke. Yes,
basically, Amelia's going to do all of them in one session. I'm pretty sure there's just a whole lot at LaveCon, which is she's going to be sat in a haze in the corner with all these drinks lined
dangerous?
up.
Oh, you just drink too much of it. Yes, this perfectly ordinary beer. How to make this dangerous? Drink 13 pints of it. Yes.
Well, I mean, we're getting down towards. I think we've got an oven, some fireworks, a bit of beer, and all the Matrona Experience jelly left.
Experience jelly.
Yes. That's about it. So we may have to send you somewhere where you can't even buy the stuff that you're trying, probably because it's too deadly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The galaxy is your Rocky Mountain oyster.
Yeah.
Mountain high. No.
I wouldn't swallow that. No.
No. So yeah, it's been good fun, and Commander Palantir, I hope you've enjoyed your last real show before the fake one next week.
Right number of seams. That's fine.
There
Very
were
few.
the visual seams were plentiful. Hopefully nobody noticed.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm mentioning them now because I cannot be bothered to edit them out afterwards. Suffice to say, the pictures went pear-shaped at some point, but they recovered. They did recover nicely.
So just listen to the audio. It'll be fine.
Yeah, well, apart from Flossy's song being cut off in mid-stride, but
Yeah.
Didn't
notice that at all. Didn't notice that. It's not in my show notes here at all.
Not at all.
No.
I thought my headphones had died.
Well, I tell you what, Flossy covered that one so perfectly by just launching into the CGs. If I hadn't mentioned it, no one would have noticed.
She was really good. She turned her head away when she did the tut. Oh, we go again. And then did that,
No, I did hear the swoosh
big
of the pan going past the back of my head there, There was a threat of panning going on there. So, yes, we will all be at LaveCon,
Yes.
I believe. Now, apology, officer.
Yes.
I did hear a rumour that you had managed to organised to strap yourself to the top of a bus heading south.
I'm stowing away in a cargo ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're nesting in the exhaust pipe.
glove box.
Yes. I've built myself a nest.
Which
I
means
think of looking in there.
all of us will be there on stage. Now, we don't know how long we've got. We don't know what time of the evening it is. I'm sure we'll tweet about it at some point.
I've already been getting fashion advice from Commander Claire Helen. So I have some considerations to make.
That new
before
hairdo,
next week. Yes.
by the way, was epic.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, it was lovely to hear from Ramforth this evening as well, and thank you so much for the pair of them for that wonderful piece of music earlier. And thank you to the community for sending in all your events, including that 34-minute video that the Palantir so gracefully chopped down to 4 minutes.
It was 2.5 minutes.
Well, the fast forward button was your friend, and the
Yes.
epically chosen music that's not going to get us blocked again. Thank you very much. Yes, we are going to set the infinite improbability drive for next Saturday now. Other than that, does anybody have anything to add before I push the button that's clearly going to go wrong just to round off this show perfectly?
Just one more thing.
Go on then.
For the mug!
For the mug!
The mug!
For that mug.
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 I got the image wrong again. Bye-bye, everybody.
margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the T-9s to the brim with grain. For the mark, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mark, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mark. Flossy always seems to crash into the sun. Swivel likes the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the front, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody yell. For the mark, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mark, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mark, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mark, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. To go cruising to Hutton, whoa, no journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud like you don't even care. For the mark, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mark, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mark, yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mark, now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. Everyone's buggered off now, so why don't you bugger off too?